Dudes, you guys are gonna go back in time.
Yeah! You are going to have the most excellent adventure through history.
It was the ultimate time-traveling buddy comedy.
Most unprecedented, most bodacious, most outstanding, most triumphant, most excellent adventure.
In 1989, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure sent two best friends on a hysterical ride through history.
No way!
With a time-traveling phone booth,
Whoa!
Plenty of air guitar, and a heartwarming message.
Be excellent to each other.
Party on, dudes!
29 years later, EW is bringing the cast of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure back together for an unforgettable reunion.
I can only tell you what my kids think, like when they watch, like, you guys just seem so close, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I think it's endearing to watch two friends, you know, interplay and go through trials and tribulations. So I think that aspect of it holds up.
You can't go wrong with be excellent to each other.
You can't, yeah, and the message, the underlying core message, that's true.
Party on.
Yeah.
Action! 5 on set.
If you guys are really us, what number are we thinking of?
69, dudes!
The story of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure began back in 1983 with former UCLA classmates Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon.
Ed Solomon actually went on to write the screenplays for Men in Black, Charlie's Angels, Now You See Me, and most recently worked on the Steven Soderbergh HBO miniseries Mosaic. But back then, Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson were just two college buddies looking to write a screenplay together.
Ed and I had been friends for a few years, and we were young comedy guys, and we like to laugh, and we like to play, and we like to make stuff up. One night, summer of 1983, I made this suggestion. I said, well, what about two teenage boys who don't know anything about world history who are talking about history?
Okay, the lady in that car over there said that Marco Polo was in the year 1275.
So it's not just a water sport, I knew it.
I think we were just looking for a way to put him in a feature film, essentially. Like, how can we have a whole movie around these guys? And we thought, well, let's just throw them into history.
Where are we, Rufus?
Austria, 1805. The French have just invaded.
Bill, check it out. We're in the middle of a war, dude.
The original impulse, which we changed, was that they were going to be responsible for everything bad that had ever happened in human history, that they just blunder from one of that they caused, like, and we thought it was really funny at first, like, oh, they caused the Civil War, they caused World War I, they caused the Titanic to sink, they caused, you know,
Lincoln's assassination.
And then before too long we bumped into, oh, right, that means they caused the Holocaust. Okay, I guess we're not going to make that joke.
But that led us to them talking to these great figures.
Yeah.
Which is the thing that really lasts, which was they just treated everybody the same. Like, if you were Sigmund Freud or Abraham Lincoln, you were just bearded guys. And that seemed really funny to us.
Thanks, guys.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure starts in a pretty typical suburban California town, San Dimas, California, and it's about two guys who really want to be rock stars, like Eddie Van Halen fanatics, who are innocent enough to think Eddie Van Halen might actually join their band.
The truth is, Wild Stallions will never be a super band until we have Eddie Van Halen on guitar.
Yes, Bill, but I do not believe we will get Eddie Van Halen until we have a triumphant video.
Ted, it's pointless to have a triumphant video before we even have decent instruments.
The big dilemma of the movie is that they have to pass history.
Dude, we gotta pass, otherwise there's no more band.
Why?
My dad's sending me to military school.
Where?
Alaska.
So Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is about these two bodacious California buds who have to pass history and use a futuristic time-traveling phone booth to actually acquire historical figures to give their report.
We got Sigmund Freud,
Beeth-Oven? Is there one for the Western movement in America in the 19th century? Yeah. Well then, let's reach out and touch someone.
Matheson and Solomon wrote the screenplay and started shopping it around Hollywood. Eventually, they convinced De Laurentiis Entertainment Group to greenlight the project.
Excellent!
Shooting began in 1987 with Stephen Herrick at the helm. The 29-year-old director was coming off his successful low-budget debut, Critters.
He'd go on to make The Mighty Ducks and Mr. Holland's Opus, and these films became really, really iconic. When he came in to make Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I think he really helped to give the movie the particular look that it has, the way that like each of the different time periods, you almost feel like you've genre traveled into a different movie.
I'm Bill S. Preston, Esquire.
The role of Bill S. Preston Esquire went to Alex Winter. The 24-year-old actor was most recognizable from his role as Marco in The Lost Boys.
Marco. Good night, Michael.
I wouldn't say he's the brains of the outfit, but he's very much the sort of active, you know, we need to sort of figure this out kind of character out of the two of them.
Ted, I have a most excellent idea. Grab his legs, we gotta get him inside.
He's just like a typical dim-witted San Dimas high school kid, really psyched about his band, the Wild Stallions, and just wants to make it big with his buddy, you know, by his side.
And I'm Ted Theodore Logan. Yeah!
Bill's bandmate and best friend, Ted Theodore Logan, was played by Keanu Reeves. The 25-year-old actor was making a name for himself after strong performances in River's Edge.
So now we get married, right?
No. Let's get stoned instead.
Oh, that'd be great.
And the Oscar-nominated Dangerous Liaisons.
Be careful of the Marquise de Mantoy.
You must permit me to treat with skepticism anything you have to say about her.
Bill and Ted are pretty interchangeable. They say things at the same time.
No way!
They do air guitar at the same time. Not too many nuances, but they're both these kind of lovable, goofy West Coast kids.
And we're Wild Stallions!
Well, I mean, I auditioned for both roles.
Yeah, I did too. They was
Yeah,
constant.
so you just
yeah. Yeah.
But then I remember when I walked into the audition in the first place, it was just you in the waiting room.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I first, I mean, I remember that. I remember that day.
I mean, I remember meeting you, so I guess that was the day. We both had motorcycle helmets.
Had motorcycle helmets.
We both played bass.
We both played bass.
Yeah.
I was a high school dropout, and you had just graduated from NYU.
No, I had not. I just dropped out
You
from
had just
NYU.
dropped out of NYU Film School.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
Do you know when the Mongols ruled China?
Wow. Perhaps we could ask them.
Rounding out the cast was the legendary George Carlin as Rufus, the professional time traveler from 700 years in the future. The 52-year-old actor was well known for his 3 decades as a stand-up comedian, which included being the first ever host of Saturday Night Live.
Football's kind of nice. They changed it a little bit. They moved the hash marks in. Guys found them and smoked them anyway.
He's coming back in time from the far future where everything is great. He's initially helping out Bill and Ted for reasons we don't quite understand.
I'm telling you, this place is great. But it almost wasn't. You see, 700 years ago, the 2 great ones ran into a few problems. So now I have to travel back in time to help them out.
He comes from a time where Bill and Ted are sort of some combination of like Jesus Christ, Gandhi, Buddha, like all the presidents combined. Like whatever they have done with their music later in their life is the foundational teaching for the whole world.
Be excellent to each other.
Party on, dude.
Their music has brought society together. So if they flunk this class and they can't make their band work, then there is no great music, there is no utopian society, there is no time travel, so you kind of like really get into the Terminator complex of how cascading events could happen and you know, kill the future events.
Listen to this dude, Rufus. He knows what he's talking about.
Right. Oh, and Ted, give my love to the princesses, who, you'll see,
He brings them this time-traveling phone booth, tells them, use this so you can pass your history test. And it's just such a great performance by George Carlin. So seeing him in the part, like, even now, sort of knowing how big the movies became, you still sort of feel that he's this presence that is already bringing the movie to a whole other level.
Thanks, Rufus.
And we were so worried about who was going to play Rufus because Rufus got cast latest. And so when we found out it was Carlin, we were honestly kind of blown away. I mean, so, and then he shows up and he's like this, you know, larger than life, beautiful, spiritual, incredible human being, so.
Yeah, and when I asked him for an autograph at the end, he wrote, "Hey, Keanu, you."
But that takes a beautiful spirit to do that.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Gentlemen, we're history.
In the night scene where we're fighting in the armor, we're in actual armor.
I'm Don't Ted.
I remember like just getting gouged by the iron mask. Yeah.
Rufus, can we go anywhere we want at any time?
Gentlemen, you can do anything you want, as long as you remember this. No matter what happens, you must get to that report. Got it?
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure began filming in 1987 with Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter in the title roles.
Bill and Ted, really great, you know, kind of like a buddy comedy buddies. Incredible chemistry between Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves. The two characters finish each other's sentences, you know, all the time. They're just like very much simpatico and like very similar. They're just good friends, and it comes across in the movie.
Dude, are you sure we should be doing this? We told ourselves to listen to this guy. What if we were lying? Why would we lie to ourselves?
We wrote them as entering every scene talking to each other and leaving every scene talking to each other. And on set, Alex and Keanu were literally doing that anyway. Coming in, you know, just goofing off, and then they'd say action, and yeah, it was great. I mean, they really, I mean, we couldn't have asked for better partners or better people to pass the baton to.
Hi, Bill. Want a ride?
Stepmom's cute. Shut up, Ted. Remember when she was a senior and we were freshmen? Shut up, Ted.
They were written as two sort of distinct characters that just had this really tight friendship, and then, and you know, you've seen that before, but sort of the way in which they were united, like through language in a weird way, and then obviously they go on the adventure together, but they're united in this way that they talk.
Will you go to the prom with us in San Dimas? We will have a most triumphant time.
I think the way that Bill and Ted talked became a cultural phenomenon. Everything's most egregious or excellent or bodacious.
You're destined to flunk most egregiously tomorrow.
You are going to have a most excellent adventure through history. The most bodacious philosophizer in ancient Greece, Socrates!
I mean, I remember getting the script, and I remember the language I remember being captivated by. That was like, because you got, like, when we were that age and you got comedy, like teen comedy scripts, they never had any kind of depth to the language.
The dude was always weird, like, it's rad.
Yeah.
Like, dude, but this one seemed to be such an assault on that.
Bogus. Heinous. Most non-triumphant.
I think that with the contradiction of the characters hit me in a funny way of just, okay, and I think I kind of almost didn't get it the first time. Like, okay, we're dumb, and yet we speak so eloquently, you know, because we do.
Bodacious.
Yeah, and we elaborate on these very long sort of sentences about things.
Excuse me, do you know where there are any personages of historical significance around here?
That's funny.
It is. It is. The guys write good dialogue. We just say stuff. We just open our mouths and say stuff.
Just say it.
Yeah.
How's it going, Old West dude?
I mean, the Western scene. I remember when Keanu and I did that sequence and we shot at this old West town out in the desert and outside Phoenix.
This is just like Frontierland. Yeah, but you can get shot here, Ted. Oh.
And, you know, coming out of the phone booth or the outhouse or wherever we end up and sort of walking down that dusty road with the big tracking shot that Steven created. That was a favorite scene for us, and not just because it's epic and it feels cinematic, but because it really galvanized the sort of concept of the movie, that you take these two very, very provincial, you know, suburban kids who live in their imagination a lot, but you put them in this fantastic environment.
2 beers, please. He didn't even card us, dude. Yeah, we have to remember this place.
And for me, I just love the physicality that we're just like, whoa, you know, just like trying to fill out the space. Like, wow, we're really in like we've always lived in like this totally boring.
We just accept it.
Yeah, like whoa, we're really somewhere totally insane.
They go back to the Wild West. They walk into a saloon, and of course, who walks in after them but Billy the Kid.
He's famous, dude. Let's bag him.
Classic Western icon that even they have heard about. You know, there's all these great hallmarks of like a Western scene. There's the rigged card game.
3 aces! Are you cheating us, kid?
There's the tavern fight. And what's great is that, like, Bill and Ted, they're not like good fighters. Like, you know, as heroes, they're definitely not action heroes. And like, their big move in the fight is basically that they both get thrown through the same wall. They think it's hilarious.
Whoa! I like it when they both get thrown through the wall and they look at each other.
You totally got thrown through the wall, dude.
There's something about that, too.
Yeah.
You guys saved my life. Nothing doing, Billy the Kid.
But at that point, they then sort of take Billy the Kid into the phone booth with them.
Where are we going? The golden age of civilization. Where?
Ancient Greece, dude.
Don't worry, we'll bring you back here as soon as you talk at our report.
Like, come with us so, you know, you don't die here. So after they get Billy the Kid from the Wild West, then it's off to ancient Greece where they meet Socrates.
Socrates? Hey, we know that name. Yeah. Hey, look him up.
Oh, it's under Socrates.
Oh, yeah.
They actually find Socrates in the middle of a Socratic dialogue.
Clepsydras. I'm you, Emon, Emerai.
And what's interesting is that he actually is speaking ancient Greek. I mean, it's not as if they don't do the thing that you know you'd expect in a kind of kid-centric movie where he's just speaking Greek accented English or something.
How's it going?
You know, again, part of the fun of this movie is how, like, you're almost kind of seeing these different genres of movie all at once.
Philosophize with him.
So you go from kind of this awesome Western feeling scene into something that is sort of more of a classic, like, ancient Greece epic.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude.
Dust? Wind.
Dude.
I was thinking about that today. Like, would they actually, if they made that film today,
Be green screen.
We wouldn't go to Rome.
No way.
We went to Rome.
Yeah.
Himes, uten anno, blanconiotus.
Yeah, no way. We would have been on a soundstage with a couple of green cubes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to Rome.
Let's get out of here, dude.
One of the great things about the first Bill and Ted's movie is that, like, you know, there is a little bit of green screen that they used in the making of the movie and all this sort of stuff where they're going through time.
These are the circuits of history, gentlemen. They'll take us to any point in time we wish.
How?
Modern technology, William.
But, like, this was still the 80s when, like, if you needed a castle, like, you had to go find a castle.
Whoa. Must be the castle of King Henry. Let's go, dude.
We were in a real castle, a real medieval castle.
Bill, what? These are heavy. Yeah, heavy metal.
And in the night scene where we're fighting in the armor, we're in actual armor.
I'm Dom Ted. Well, I'm Luke Bill. And you're not my father. No. Come on.
We're not in like light sprayed, you know, polycarbon whatever. We're in two giant frickin' suits from 300 years ago. I remember like just getting gouged by the iron mask. Yeah. But I was, you know, I was over the moon to be actually doing a fight in a real suit of armor.
We totally know how to sword fight.
The movie really shifts into high gear, and there's this like montage to end all montages where they're going through time and picking up all these other people.
How's it going, Fruit, dude?
One by one, we see Bill and Ted gathering these different historical figures. They've got Sigmund Freud, Ludwig van Beethoven, Joan of Arc, Genghis Khan, Abraham Lincoln, and they end up getting them all into this phone booth.
They're all just kind of jammed into this tiny phone booth. Maybe they should have done, I don't know, a double-wide phone booth? Is that a thing? It just feels like really small for so many famous historical figures to squeeze into, but Bill and Ted don't care. They're just going to bring them back to present day.
Ted, we're out of control! What? Next place we stop, we gotta try and figure out what's wrong with the booth!
The phone booth, you know, because this is before the days of sophisticated CGI, the phone booth was just like bolted to a really rickety hydraulic unit that just vibrated and kind of gyrated us around in front of a massive green screen.
When we were doing the circuits of time.
Yeah, all the circuits of time stuff.
Bill? I think I got an idea what's wrong. What? The antenna's broken.
I can't believe they fit 8 of us into those frickin' things. But,
yeah. Everyone was really game. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
All of the cast, everyone who came on board was like into their role, into finding the bits, and like, and not really trying to like go. I mean, there's a little bit, but I mean, everyone was
not really. Yeah, well, a little bit. We won't go into that. We'll go into.
But I mean, everyone was like really.
No.
But everyone was really kind of game on.
Yeah.
And had a real spirit to it, and let's do this.
So it seems we may be one report short today, so we'll leave just a bit early.
Bill and Ted arrive with minutes to spare and somehow put on a very elaborate production.
How's it going? I'm Billy the Kid.
The great thing about the sort of climax of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is that, like, it's shot to look like a kind of arena rock concert.
And now, my good friends, Bill S. Preston, Esquire, and Ted Theodore Logan.
Thank you! Hello, San Dimas High!
But again, like, they're essentially just bringing out historical figures to talk about history.
As you can see, Genghis very much enjoys Twinkies because of the excellent sugar rush. And he also loves billiards. Beethoven's favorite works include Mozart's Requiem, Handel's Messiah, and Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet.
This is where, like, whether you were, like, a kid who loved Van Halen or a nerd who liked history, like me, there was something for everyone here.
Ted's father's own fear of failure has caused his aggression transference onto Ted.
Whoa! Joan of Arc plans on instituting a full-scale aerobics program on her return to France.
Triomphe Napoleon.
The real climax of this climax is when Abraham Lincoln, you know, probably everyone's go-to best president in American history, he steps on stage, sort of begins by almost paraphrasing the Gettysburg Address.
70 minutes ago, we, your forefathers, were brought forth upon a most excellent adventure.
So Abraham Lincoln really loves Bill and Ted. He gives thanks to them and then kind of like extols people to live by their philosophies of, you know, just being cool dudes.
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!
For me, it was being chased through Westwood by an entire fraternity. Fantastic. And I was literally chased like something out of a, you know, whatever, Richard Lester movie, like down the street by like 300 drunk frat guys, all going, dude! Ted hair was really hard to do. I've got to give Keanu credit for that. Ted hair had to be kind of out at this, like, this is all his design, but it had to be out at this kind of like physically impossible leveled, like not too high.
No.
Because the makeup people were like, oh, well, I'll just spray it. I'll just like put it up in the end. He's like, no, that's not what I want. It needs to be between like down here and like up here.
I'm kind of close to Ted hair almost.
Almost. Yeah, you got a little. You got
but
close
I have to have it out.
But man, that one shot where you come.
Like,
You'll see what he was chasing after. It's just perfect. It is kind of genius. Like I do love it. I mean, I had to suffer for months with him trying to get it where it needed to be. We would be waiting for camera to roll, and his Ted hair would not be, and he would like ask for a mirror. I mean, but when it worked, it was. I mean, it does make you laugh your butt off when you're just like, it's just very funny.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure premiered on February 17th, 1989. The film scored big at the box office, raking in $40 million, which was 4 times what it cost to make.
What a lot of people don't realize is Bill and Ted almost didn't make it to the theater.
Yeah, it was pretty touch and go for a while because at least one entity went out of business. To more than I mean,
pretty much everyone.
Our joke was like every single entity, studio that touches this goes out of business. So that made it hard.
De Laurentiis picked it up, financed it, finished it, went out of business. It sat on a shelf for a year.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie was shelved. It was flat out over. So it wasn't like maybe it'll come out and it was done. The guys who made the movie before went bankrupt. The movie got shelved. We moved on. It was very disappointing.
Another company, Nelson Entertainment, picked it up.
It seemed like it was likely to go direct to video there for quite a while. That was kind of the mindset. And then somebody thought it had more potential than that. I don't know, Nelson?
Nelson put some money into it. They recut it, added a little bit of footage.
Right.
Then Orion picked it up to distribute it. By the way, all out of business now.
And then suddenly we heard that it had been bought and they'd done a test and it went through the roof, and suddenly the movie was very much alive and coming out with, roaring away. So it was a great, great ending to what could have been kind of a sad state of affairs.
Billy, you are dealing with the oddity of time travel with the greatest of ease.
And then it came out and it was eviscerated by critics. Like, it was brutal. It was like painful. It was sometimes they reviewed it so badly, sometimes they hated it so much that they would review it badly in reviews of other movies. They'd go back and trash Bill and Ted. There was one review of Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan, and the guy was like, I have a better idea. How about Jason Takes Bill and Ted? I'm like, that was like, you
That's gratuitous.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry,
like we should get killed. Yeah. Like basically we should be killed for what we did. I think people thought we were stupid, because the characters are kind of like, we've never thought Bill and Ted were stupid. I don't think Bill and Ted are stupid. I actually think they have natural kind of brilliance in a way, in fact.
The only true wisdom consists in knowing that you know nothing.
That's us, dude.
Oh yeah.
But they don't know much. They were pretty ignorant of a lot of things, and so people thought we were glorifying stupidity. That was, I think, what really made people kind of mad about it. It's like you're glorifying how dumb these guys are.
Which, of course, wasn't it at all.
Most non-triumphant.
While critics weren't exactly raving, moviegoers were hooked.
Extra credit, dude.
The film's success quickly snowballed from instant cult classic to cultural phenomenon.
Not bad, eh, so great?
When it opened and we actually saw it with an audience, we saw it with some friends of ours who looked at us after the screening and said, well, the audience has spoken.
For me, it was being chased through Westwood by an entire fraternity.
Really?
Yeah, at around 11 o'clock at night, I came out of a movie and they spotted me literally like a quarter of a mile away from the second deck of their frat house. Fantastic. And I was literally chased like something out of a, whatever, Richard Lester movie, like down the street by like 300 drunk frat guys, all going, dude, excellent! So that was an indicator.
That's an indicator.
Yeah.
Catch you later, Bill and Ted. Ow!
Evil Bill and Ted robots.
Yeah.
And dead Bill and Ted.
Yeah. And
How
death
fantastic.
himself.
And death.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Come on, Ted. We've got some historical figures to rescue.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure premiered in 1989 and immediately launched a most bodacious cultural phenomenon.
Ted, you and I have witnessed many things, but nothing as bodacious as what just happened.
When it surprised everyone and just kept going, that was amazing, an amazing feeling. But to me, the real amazing part of it is that it's lasted. Not only lasted, but kind of grown. And I think that's a testament to Alex and Keanu, to Steve's, very simple and unpretentious directing, and the sweetness of the film and the ebullience of the characters, the generosity of spirit I think that those guys have.
I had been selected for a most important journey. I was to help fulfill the destiny of the two great ones, Bill and Ted.
Wild Stallions rule!
In 1990, CBS debuted an animated spin-off series, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures.
Whoa!
With Reeves and Winter reprising their iconic roles.
Whoa, dude, what happened? I don't know, Ted. We've either lost our power or our hearing.
That same year, Bill and Ted's Excellent Cereal premiered at grocery stores across the country.
We've got a most excellent way to start your day.
Or night.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Cereal.
This idea of these two wannabe rock stars who travel in time to pass their history class resonated with a younger audience. So it made sense that they'd want to market a children's TV show and a cereal to these younger kids.
How's it going, Bill and Ted? Ted, it's us again.
The highly anticipated sequel, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, was released in 1991 and performed modestly at the box office. Despite twice the budget, the film wound up grossing slightly less than the original.
This is most non-heinous.
Maybe at that point, a bit of diminishing returns for Bill and Ted. People still liked the sequel, but the energy maybe had gone away a little bit around those two characters.
It was a much darker film. They ended up dying and going to hell.
Sign of the devil, dude.
There was evil robots.
Ow! You metal, dude!
There was an actual villain, whereas in the first one there was not.
Denomalos, my old teacher. Rufus.
And I think, personally, I think it's a better film, but I think a lot of fans, it was maybe a little too much for them.
Catch you later, Bill and Ted!
When did we come up with them dying?
I think that we wanted to push it. We wanted to be ambitious comedically, and we knew that in order to laugh, and we had to laugh, Ed and I had to be laughing for it to have any chance to be any good at all.
Ted, it's the Grim Reaper, dude. Oh. How's it hanging, Death?
And we both feel like it's 2/3 pretty good, and then the last third's actually not very good at all, and that's because we didn't get it right. That's on us.
Sorry.
But we do feel like there's some really good scenes, and we had to push it into some territory that was not familiar.
What I loved about it was it was keeping the characters. It wasn't trying to be weird just for weird's sake, but it was a total conceptual departure from the first one.
What?
Yes.
Why?
It wasn't like stick them back in the phone booth, send them to another part of history, have them have like, now it's a science report, I'm sure that's what they were getting.
Right.
Okay, we have a great idea, guys, for the sequel. Okay, now it's a science report, and they're gonna go to ancient, where did they?
Japan.
Yes, that's it. Yes, they will be shoguns.
They're completely brilliant. Not.
So no, they were like, let's make a hard left turn. Let's get away from just sort of the immediate time travel stuff.
Evil Bill and Ted robots.
Yeah.
And dead Bill and Ted.
Yeah. And Death
fantastic.
himself.
And Death.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Catch you later, Bill and Ted. Catch you later, Bill and Ted.
So the third movie is called Bill and Ted Face the Music.
I'm really looking forward to going back into the playground with him.
traveled through time. I mean, we met lots of great leaders, and we got an A+ on our history report. And look at us. Nothing's different.
It's been nearly 30 years since Bill and Ted passed their history exam. And for fans hoping for a third installment to complete the trilogy, turns out there is a most triumphant comeback in the works.
We talked for a while, if we were ever going to do another Bill and Ted movie, why would we want to do it? Well, we'd want to do it for the same reason that we did the first two, which is because
we love these guys.
We love these guys, and there's something to say.
Chris and Ed came to us, what, in 2007?
2000, yeah.
And with the idea of doing it, and they pitched us an idea, and it sounded great, and then they've been really collaborative with us, which is really cool.
So the third movie is called Bill and Ted Face the Music. It's kind of like A Christmas Carol with Bill and Ted. It's kind of looking at their lives and really kind of rediscovering what they're about.
Wild Stallion's music has become the foundation of our whole society.
No way!
Yes way!
We knew that they couldn't have actually written the song, right? Because they've actually written the song, then they're big stars and they've saved the world, and then the only story is they've had a falling out, and we didn't want to do that. That seemed boring to us, so that was no fun. But the version, we're like, they haven't come up with it. And the pressure of that, the like, oh my God, at 17, 16, you're told you're gonna save the world.
You see, eventually, your music will help put an end to war and poverty. It will align the planets and bring them into universal harmony, allowing meaningful contact with all forms of life.
And now you're 50, and you haven't done it. And just the weight of that, and like now they're married, you know, and it affects their marriages, and it affects their relationships with their kids, and it affects their everything. And then, you know, the future actually shows up, and it's like, you've got to do it like right now. That seemed kind of fun and interesting to us.
I'm really looking forward to going back into the playground with him. And, you know, and with him as Ted and being in that space. I mean, for me, the fun of Bill and Ted is the fun of interacting with Keanu and the banter and the way we play with the language and the characters.
Find the scenes.
Yeah, and the emotionality and who's riffing off the emotionality, how. That's really what's fun about those movies.
Yeah! Full-on evil robot. Yeah!
Obviously, the frenzy behind Bill and Ted went away after the sequel, but I think it never really faded from pop culture. It doesn't really seem dated. I think it's kind of something that those lines and the language and the air guitar, you can do those things and people will remember them with fondness.
I love Bill and Ted. They're delightful. They're very joyful. It's a nice headspace to be in.
We've said to each other many, many times, if the only thing we ever put out into the world was be excellent to each other, that would not be such a bad thing.
And you can't go wrong with be excellent to each other.
You can't, yeah, and the message, the underlying core message is true.
Party on.
Yeah.
I mean, it might actually be the beginning, one of the first examples of contemporary modern apocalyptic art.
Right. That's true. I'll give you that. Now we have to make the third one. We have to. Before the apocalypse.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!